Unashamed, the Recovery Podcast.
Yeah, hello, Recovery fam, and welcome back for another episode of the Unashamed Recovery Podcast with just Josh for our season finale of season 3. Drew is out for this one, and that's okay. We're taking this kind of takes me back to season 1 when it was just me. So you gotta just listen to the scratching on the chalkboard of my voice for this episode. You don't have the sweet sounds of Drew, but that's all right. And today we're going to be just doing something a little bit different. Today we're just going to kind of do a recap over this last season of where we started and where we went and what's coming in season 4. And, looking back over this season, this wasn't the season that we kind of wanted. We kind of, like last season, we bounced around from location to location. We suffered on the audio side of things. We lost a lot of listeners with the downgrade in our audio quality. But for those that stuck around, you've heard us on these last couple episodes. We've made a huge return. Things are sounding better. We lost Ryan in all that process, but things are looking good. As I look back over this season, we started off with Amy of Jacob's Well, and she took us through the social media argument of, is addiction a choice or disease? And we learned a lot about addiction in that episode. And that's probably one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded to date. And a lot of you have commented on how much you love that episode. But then we went and we had Dr. Hogan, who came on and talked about resisting temptation. And he gave out a lot of good key points for that and a lot of good notes for people to take home with them and to apply into their own recovery too, especially those who are early in their recovery and sobriety journeys. And then he gave a lot of good notes and some good techniques that we can apply in our recovery journey. And we had episode after episode after episode of good topic shows. This season, we haven't had that many testimonies, but we had a lot in season 2. And because of that, we offset with season 3 having more topics. We wanted to give back and to give y'all some stuff to take into your home recovery journey. And I think it was episode 4 of this season, we had Katie Sanders come on and talk about the importance of pruning to produce more fruit. And we don't often talk about pruning or even so of producing fruit in our recovery. But Katie took us into, I believe it was Romans, and we talked about the importance of sometimes the storm we're going through isn't because we did something bad. The storm we're going through is to prune us, to make us where we are able to produce more fruit. And, I love that example to take into especially the leaders at recovery groups, because those are the ones that's producing the fruit. And, that next episode, it was me and Drew talking about how to stay in recovery. That one to me was a great episode for newcomers. Well, and I guess oldcomers, the old timers, the ones who's been in recovery for so long that they have got complacent. It was a great reminder to everybody of basic steps and principles that will continually guide you through your recovery journey. But one of the more favorite episodes that we did was with our pastor, Jim Feartag at NorthPark, and he talked about the differences between reconciliation and forgiveness. And he talked about biblical reconciliation and how reconciliation doesn't necessarily mean forgiveness. And forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation. There's a huge difference there. And how us in recovery should be aiming toward reconciliation for not only the other person, but for ourselves, because it plays an important role in maintaining our daily sobriety and for the long haul in our recovery journey. And we got a lot of feedback and we got a lot of support off of that episode on reconciliation. A lot of you didn't know the importance of reconciliation. And so we enjoyed answering those emails and talking with y'all. And, if y'all ever have any questions or if you want to reach out to the podcast, you can always email us at unashamedpodcast@yahoo.com. That's the easiest, quickest way to get in contact with us. And y'all all can find us on all the social media platforms. But y'all blew up the inbox with that reconciliation episode. And we enjoyed talking with y'all about that and having that important conversation of getting started into steps, I believe 8 and 9, making those amends and handling all those resentments and making the necessary steps to get biblical and holy reconciliation in those relationships. And as the season moved forward past that, we got in some more awesome episodes of living unashamed, and we talked about the importance of getting into step number 12 and how that looks in mine and Drew's life, and how we take and apply all of that into not only how it means in our own recovery and sobriety, but how that goes into the people around us and how that affects them. And, living unashamed is a great motto, and it's a great podcast name, but it's different when we're daily walking in that and making a difference in other people's lives with sharing of the rock bottom that we were in, but how we were also rescued out of that. And then after we had that episode, just me and Drew, we had Kristen come on and talk about her testimony of how she was saved from grace, or saved by grace, I believe it was, of how her addiction led her from up in Wisconsin all the way down here in little old Mississippi, and just the pure hell that her addictions took her through. And then we had Krisha come on, and she talked about how love was lived out in her life as she was the spouse of an addict. And you could just feel the empathy that was in her life with her husband who was struggling with this addiction. And we learned about how spouses can have that crucial impact for their spouse who's in addiction. And then we talked with Jay. And if you haven't gone and listened to Jay's episode, go back and catch his episode. Jay was a career firefighter, and I think he was a self-proclaimed garbage can junkie with a buffet-style drug use. And Jay, he was using the adrenaline. He was an adrenaline junkie through his career as a firefighter, but he was also using the trauma from his daily work as an excuse to use. And he was he loved caring and helping for people, but it was feeding his addiction. So if you haven't caught that one, go back and catch Jay. I believe it's episode number 32, No Shame. And then we talked with Angela on End It for Good. And Angela is the outreach director for End It for Good Mississippi, and they are a harm reduction program here in Mississippi for decriminalizing addiction and drug use. And they're making great waves in the addiction and recovery communities with that. And Angela gave a lot of great resources out there. So go back, look at the show notes, get caught up with that, reach out to End It For Good. They got a lot of great stuff going on. They're doing a lot of good things in the Mississippi recovery community. Check them out on their website. All that's linked in the show notes of that episode. And then we're called up to where we are now with our season finale. And guys, I'm a little bittersweet as we close out this season because I'm ready to get into season 4. But I've also got to take time to sit back and reflect over this past season. It wasn't all bad. We've had some downs, but the season was a great season overall. We had a lot of great guests. We connected with a lot of our listeners. And we loved connecting and coming out and sharing and doing these live events inside the Mississippi recovery community. So season 3 was not a waste. Season 3 was a great launching pad, getting us forward and moving us into season 4. And, we, with all 3 of these past seasons, we usually have ended in September and then start right back in November. So as we end season 3 here in October of 2022, we're going to take an extended break, and season 4 will find you in March of 2023. But don't get discouraged. You're not going to be missing anything because even though we're going to be starting later, season 4 is going to have 18 brand new episodes that will find you in 2023. Instead of our normal 11 and 12 episodes, we're having 18 episodes. We've dropped the video companion of the episodes on YouTube, and we're picking up more episodes to get you through your recovery and your sobriety journeys. And so instead of having one episode a month, that first Monday of each month, now you're getting 2 a month. You're going to be getting a brand new episode every other Monday. And so you're going to get to hear more of me and Drew. And it's probably a good thing because we've got faces that are made for radio and for audio only. We don't have faces that were made for TV. So it's a good thing that we dropped YouTube and we're getting more of these audio episodes out to y'all. And so as we close out season 3, we just ask for y'all to keep the Unashamed Recovery Podcast in your prayers. Lift us up. We're always available for any live events that y'all may have, sharing our testimonies. And if you are feeling led to help us out with support for monetary, for donations to help us, reach out to us, contact us, unashamedpodcast@yahoo.com. And we look forward to seeing what season 4 is going to bring us. And with that, y'all, that's all I've got for today. I love y'all, and I hope during this break that y'all remain unashamed.